Swordfish is a new storage management standard that we have developed inside SNIA, the Storage Networking Industry Association. It has been something we are very proud to have developed very rapidly in only 9 months. What it is an extension to our partner organization DMTF's Redfish specification, which is one of the reasons we've been able to develop it so quickly. Redfish is a open industry standard to manage server infrastructure. It's also something that we're extending, that since SNIA is managing storage, we're leveraging it and extending it directly to manage the storage infrastructure. We're also partnering with DMTF so that with a combined infrastructure, we can manage jointly servers, storage, and fabric with a single ecosystem. This is something that a lot of companies have actually gotten together to do, and it's all the big names in the industry. So we have client-side companies. We have client-side companies working together, helping to drive the standards. On the Swordfish side, we have Microsoft and VMware that have been very active in helping to drive from a user-centric use case-centric perspective. We also have Intel that has been coming in from their rack scale design, bringing in a lot of really interesting use cases. And then we have all of the vendors for both servers and storage and networking in working as well. We have Microsoft, or Broadcom, my company, we have HP, we have Dell, we have EMC, we have NetApp, we have on the networking side, we have Emerson, we have Ericsson. Everybody is involved in either Redfish or Swordfish helping to drive these standards. If you're an enterprise customer, you care because this is going to provide you a really seamless and ubiquitous way to manage your ecosystem. You can actually access all of this stuff directly, all of your infrastructure directly, if you're a DevOps person, with a single standard way, regardless of who's delivering your infrastructure, whether it's server, storage, or networking, or fabric. And you can also look at a simpler, easier way for any of your software infrastructure to access that same infrastructure. So it helps you avoid vendor lock-in, and you can actually focus on buying the best infrastructure based on its functionality rather than on getting trapped by vendor lock-in. Well, if you're a classic sysadmin, you get a lot of those same benefits, but you still have that same easy-to-use interface that that you get in those other environments. With the REST-based APIs, you get an easier to use interface. It's a simpler, easier to use ramp. With REST APIs and with the OData extensions in there, you get an interface that you can actually use very simply and easily. Unlike a lot of the previous generations of APIs, you can actually start using it immediately and directly. So you can build your custom environments on top of it. You can customize across server, storage, and networking. If you're a classic storage admin, one of the things that Swordfish is going to actually bring for you is class of service-based controls. So you can actually customize your environment for your customers with a standard class of service customization and deliver that to your customers in your environment with a standard API. And that's something that's brand new in this standard. With the Swordfish API, one of the things you get that you did not have in previous incarnations of storage management standards is the expansion of the standard from more than just traditional direct attached storage and SAN storage to converged storage, hyperscale, and cloud infrastructures. It really is going to span the gamut, and you get, again, that connection from server to storage to fabric across the entire space. The standards also cover local attached storage. So the extensions from Redfish to Swordfish also seamlessly cover all of the local attached storage. So you can seamlessly manage whether it's local attached storage or server attached storage, whether we're calling it scalable DAS, whether it's server attached, whatever the permutation of storage, it's covered between the Redfish and Swordfish APIs. The Swordfish functionality in version V1, we've covered block and file. We intend on our roadmap to extend this to cover object and fabric. Fabric's already covered in Redfish, and the fabric protocols are already covering PCI and SAS. We'll extend that to cover fiber channel in the future. It's very flexible, and we have the ability in our roadmap to extend that in any direction. What we have right now is we have released, as of September 19th, we released the V1.0 spec. And so what we are looking at right now is a proof of concept that we have in the works for a Swordfish open source framework for a provider infrastructure. We also have a proof of concept in the works for a provider infrastructure as well as a client infrastructure to do a validation for that. We expect to see some early reference implementations from vendors within the next few months. We would expect to see, unlike some of our previous incarnations, because we have existing clients actually working hard with us in conjunction with developing the spec, we expect to see some existing or some implementations coming out sometime next year. We don't have any existing vendors that have announced that yet, but we hope to see sometime in 2017 some implementations being announced. We're working on a model to define what functionality is going to be required, and we are working very closely with our clients to have very strong input from them on what they expect to see for their environments. As an example, Microsoft Azure Stack is looking to define what they would like to see from a profile perspective to support an Azure Stack implementation. And so that they will work to define this a given set of functionality and feature set to support an Azure Stack implementation for block or for file. And that will constitute the Azure Stack profile. And another client or reference implementation might have a different set of requirements. So our goal is to have everything be very client-focused rather than very provider-centric. We're working to get more clients engaged. We've been very lucky in getting, in our very short time window of turning the standard around in 9 months, to have Microsoft and VMware be very heavily engaged. We would love to have more clients involved. We're also looking at some solutions with open source, like building a integration to OpenStack that would put a Cinder driver, a Swordfish Cinder driver in place. We've also looked at a collaboration opportunity with the Open Linux Foundation and developing a framework, Swordfish-based framework with the Open Linux Foundation. So those are some of the collaboration opportunities we're pursuing. We would love to have more clients engage, and any open source opportunities we are open to.